If this were any other year and I told you without context we were going to lock people inside, treat elderly people like prisoners, not allow them to have social interactions like normal and go to events, shut down all social gatherings and music events, close down beaches, close down parks, blast out fear propaganda on the media which causes stress and fear, force people to stay inside for a month where it's been confirmed that people were overeating, over drinking, getting more scared and depressed as usual, suicides on the rise, domestic abuse on the rise, child abuse on the rise, watching fear television as they sell you high fructose corn syrup and pharmacy commercials. Nearly 100% of people would say, that's crazy, that's going to destroy the health of the country, that's going to lead millions of people to have a less healthy life, and will of course lead to more deaths. Everybody, liberal and conservative, would understand with what I just told you, it's unhealthy, it's horrible, it's wicked, and of course it has egregious negative health consequences. Any other year besides this year, if you said that, almost everyone in unison would say, well, yeah, of course that's going to lead to a nation that's way less healthy. But this year you throw in COVID-19 and all of a sudden you have half the nation or perhaps more trying to make the moral or even scientific argument that that's somehow a good idea. And the reason that I bring it up is because now they're going to count hospital cases, eventually count deaths. And even if in certain categories, cities and states, it's higher than normal, although I would say if you really check the charts, in some it's not. If it is, what about all that? How come that's not being considered? They've brainwashed people into thinking that COVID-19 is the only thing in the planet that could lead to bad health, except for all that stuff. So what if hospitalizations were on the rise because of all the things that I just mentioned that are destroying the health of millions of people, when we understand that obesity and diabetes already affects millions of people across the globe and leads to millions of deaths across the globe? So the argument they're trying to push is like, there's no pros and cons. It's all pro to lockdown and the cons just don't exist when they obviously do. Even though if you look at deaths per capita around the world, the top 6 all had lockdowns. There is no country doing worse than them that didn't lock down. So the cons are obviously outweighing the pros. And I compare it to Lucy with the football with Charlie Brown because Republicans, even Trump, and a lot of conservatives try to satisfy the needs of these fake nonsense con artists who constantly just widen the goalposts and pull the football. I heard all year, Trump's rushing the vaccine because as soon as the vaccine's out, the liberals will be happy and then we could go back to normal. Well, whoop, Lucy pulls out the football. Fauci's already saying that we can't go back to normal after the vaccine. And this is messed up for 2 reasons. First of all, you can't please a group of people that isn't operating in reality or real science. They tell you a restaurant with 5 people in it will hurt people. Meanwhile, they could have thousands of people in the street, hundreds of people in other stores if they're big box stores or airlines. They're not operating in real science. They make a rule, they change it, they change it, they change it, they change it, and it's like zoop, 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 Lucy with the football, because Republicans think satisfying their nonsensical needs, which will eventually change as soon as you do it, is somehow going to end the pandemic. So that's the first reason it's not a good idea. The second one is that why are Republicans and conservatives accepting this idea that I have to do something, I have to make a vaccine, I have to satisfy their needs in order to get my constitutional freedom back, in order to live like normal and be able to go to a gym or fly on a plane without being hassled? Why are we accepting that? You can't just blame the left when the right is constantly acting like Charlie Brown, swinging and missing. And it's all a numbers game in which they're moving the numbers like a magic trick every time you satisfy it. Gavin Newsom said in March that he thought by around May there'd be around 25.5 million people with coronavirus in the state of California. Despite being a little bit over 1 million cases, are we free because we beat his original goal by, 23 million cases? We're free, right? Oh no, we're not, because every time we do it, he switches it and he switches it, and now he's saying, well, you're Southern California. If you're in Orange County, we're going to group you in with Southern California and we're going to count hospitalizations. Are we going to compare them to other years? No. Are we going to tell you who's in the hospital for what? No. And like I said, the point that people are missing is it's nearly impossible for our health to be better this year. And I'm not talking about because of COVID-19. I'm talking about because of all the things they've done. They've blasted so much fear, which is scientifically proven to cause so many health problems. They've blasted so much stress, which is scientifically proven to cause health problems. They've raised the obesity rate in many cities and states, which is proven to cause health problems. They raised domestic abuse, child abuse, depression. They've completely eliminated social interaction and joy from many people's life, even having people like NBC writing articles about how urging joy around the holidays makes you a bad person. How could we possibly be healthier? The negative health impacts of the lockdowns, the shutdowns, the quarantining, the social distancing are far, far outweighing COVID-19, and they're playing this counting game, which I have another video about. I'll put it in my description. They're wildly purposely counting inaccurately. exactly, adding thousands of people to the death list who never had a test, being so loose with what it means to be positive for COVID-19 or death by COVID-19 that it's statistically impossible for this to end really ever unless the virus goes away, because it's a counting scheme and it's all just a magic trick where they move from goal to goal to goal to goal to goal, and nobody seems to be able to figure it out. But this is my message to Trump. This is my message to Republicans, conservatives, liberals, Democrats. I really don't care. 2021, the number one goal of this country needs to be 100% open. Not 10%, not 15%, not, well, I'm so good because I'm Florida and it's kind of open, just not in the Democrat cities and not in Costco and not when you go on an airplane, but we're kind of free. That's not America. This is BS. And I'm not even that ticked off at the Democrats. Obviously a little bit because it's disgusting what they're doing, but I expect them to do this. What I didn't expect was so many conservatives, so many libertarians and patriots and Trump supporters making excuses for what's going on, having no solution for what's going on, not being able to counter what's going on, acting like fake tough guys on Twitter. They're like, this person needs to be held accountable. Nobody's afraid of you. It's been 4 years. Nobody's been held accountable. Only Trump allies, Trump supporters being wiped off social media, being arrested for defending and trying to work with Trump. That's the only thing that's happened. So no one's afraid of your tweets. Nobody's afraid of your little snarky commentary. Everybody gets what's going on. It's like, oh, I wonder why they're doing this. Because they're lying, because they're killing businesses, they're killing the country, and with the negative health impacts of what they're doing, they're killing people. So now that we know that, let's move forward. But we can't get to that point because nobody's being honest about it. It's like Charlie Brown with the football. And to be quite frank, like millions of people, I'm fed up because I don't want to watch the health deteriorate of our country because of the lockdowns, because of the fear propaganda, and them to be like, oh, well, what do you know? Our health is slightly worse right now, so we're going to shut down. Meanwhile, they're making our health slightly worse. So it's impossible to ever get it back on the rise when they're the main contributors of destroying our health. I understand everybody's distracted by and enthralled with the election, and I understand as soon as it's over in late December or January, regardless of the outcome, we need 100% of patriots, 100% of constitutionalists, 100% of Republicans, 100% of libertarians, and 100% of honest liberals who understand what's going on is disgusting to demand freedom, 100%. Because as you think they're fighting secretly and not really doing anything because no one's been arrested, what they're really doing is just funding Big Pharma, passing these stimulus and CARES Act bills that are not only not fighting it, while they never got rid of Fauci, they're still working with them. They're not fighting it, they're actually fueling it, they're funding it, they're playing along with the numbers, and they don't seem to be able to accurately say what I just said, which is all these shockingly obvious negative health impacts on our society. And I said this in March, but it's like if you want to mandate something that makes people healthier, I don't think it's constitutional, but if you mandated everybody had to work out 5 times a week, sit down, shut up, do some push-ups, do some jumping jacks, run a lap, we could have saved hundreds of thousands of lives, we could have made millions of people healthier, and we could have had a more positive health impact than any BS lockdown or nonsensical business shutdown that they're doing under COVID-19. But we have to stop pretending like that's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to do that. They're trying to destroy businesses. They're trying to hurt us. They're trying to hurt our country. And they're funneling tens of billions of dollars to vaccine companies. So there's a lot of financial benefit and gain to be had. So when President Trump or someone else mentions a medicine that doesn't make that much money, as they've already invested tens of billions of dollars into other companies, do you think they're going to allow that to slide? No. Do you think they're going to be honest like I'm saying? And if we all did jumping jacks, push-ups, and ran laps, we'd actually save more lives than everything we've done this year to destroy the country, the economy, and people's mental state and physical state. Do you think they're going to tell you that? Of course not. But once again, I'm not just disgusted with the sicko media. I'm not just disgusted with dictator Democrats. I'm disappointed, and maybe it's my own fault, with Trump, Republicans, and maybe most importantly, Trump supporters, patriots, us, our citizens. I expected more. I didn't expect excuses. I didn't expect complacency. I thought we had some fight, and I still think we do. So that's what we're doing in 2021. No excuses, regardless of who wins this election, regardless who's in office, regardless of what state you're in, 100% open. And if everybody has that attitude, we can get rid of this soon. Hold your leaders accountable. Enough falling into the circus, enough just running in circles around stuff that never gets done. Let's demand it, because this has already gone way too far. God bless you so much. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful week. Appreciate your blessings. Sign up to my free email list if you like. StayInTouchWithMe.com. And I'll be back with more videos soon.